Hi everybody, so today I've got a Prada review and I've got the brand new highlighters from Prada. So this is the light glowing Prada highlighter and I've got this in the first two shades, shades 1 and 2. So this one is the pink and this one is the champagne. I've got these actually in refills, which is why you're not seeing a case, because they've only become available here in the UK as refills. So I've only got refills, but obviously that's fine because you can see exactly what these are like and hopefully it'll help you decide whether to buy them when they do launch in their cases. I'm also trying for the very first time today the Prada setting powder. This is it's green, but it actually goes on as a transparent powder, I believe. So here is the setting powder I'm trying on in this video. I'm also trying the new Prada mascara. And I've also got something from Haus. They launched 4 new shades in their glossy, glassy finish blush sticks. And these are blush slash bronzer shades. And I've picked up the lightest, which is suitable for my skin tone. So I'll be showing you this one today. So I really cannot wait to show you all of this. I'm actually wearing it now, so that's a little bit of a spoiler. And I can't wait to get started. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 48, I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody who loves makeup and beauty, and here on my channel I review the latest products, show you my favourite looks and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy this content, I would love it ever so much if you did subscribe to my channel. Lots of people are tuning in without subscribing, but if you could, honestly, it's so very helpful to me and I really appreciate it. But if you already are, welcome back, and I really appreciate you for being here. And my skin tone for matching up with the shades we'll see today, I've got fair to light skin with predominantly cool undertones that lean a little bit neutral, and I've got blue eyes. Anyway, that's enough about me, let's get straight into this video. Starting with a fairly blank face so we can try out this powder, which as I've said is not a new product, but it's new to me because I've wanted to try this and just not bought it. So seeing as we're testing out these new highlighters, I thought it was the perfect time. So here is the packaging, beautiful packaging. And here is the powder. So this one is called the Prada Reset Rebalancing Setting Powder, which promises to deliver an instant mattified soft focus effect on your skin whilst controlling shine all day long. It also says that this one is weightless and a hybrid texture which extends the wear of your makeup. It's infused with a plant-derived squalane, Prada Reset, which makes the skin feel fresh and comforted and moisturized over time in the iconic Prada green color, which will turn transparent as applied and look uncolored on your skin. Suitable for all skin tones and all skin types, and it is sweat proof, and you get 6.8 grams of products in here. And this is £50. It is made in France. It's also refillable and you can buy the refill for £40. So that's a little bit of a saving anyway. So anyway, I've got my Nikki LaRose N14 brush and I haven't set anything, so I haven't set concealer, which is where I'd like to start. So I'm going to go straight in with that. I'm just using this, which I've mentioned to you about getting this Morphe brush set, which was 3 brushes for blush. So one for cream blush, one for powder blush, and it also came with this, but I just wanted to show it to you because it's a sponge, but it's like a puff. But it's the sort of material of a sponge. I think it is so good. I love the shape on it, and it's got this, you can put your finger into it like that, and it is just perfect. I love it so much that I'm thinking of going back on the website and picking up a few and using them instead of makeup sponges. Certainly for under the eye anyway, because I use sponges these days mostly for just taking off excess. And it's just perfect. It's not too big like a big sponge, so I definitely recommend that. I do have linked below the Morphe set that I found if you're looking for it. Anyway, let's go now into this powder. So this shouldn't look green, it should look completely transparent, but I'm interested to see if it's going to give a bit of a brightening effect. And so far it's looking very smooth. It definitely has brightened a little bit, not a lot, not like the YSL blue for instance, which I love to use, but that is giving a very nice creaseless, cake-free, lightweight, virtually undetectable finish. Very lightweight, it's just like it's not there, it's completely invisible, but obviously everything is set down and dry, so Very, very, very good first impression there. I'm also not having to tap off much with this because it is not collecting too much. It's not kicking up in the pan, so it's not overly powdery. I don't know if this one, what the ingredients are on this. I've just looked them up. I'll pop a picture up now on the screen of the ingredients. So the first ingredient, well, the second ingredient is mica. There is no talc in this, but it's performing very similarly to a talc, I have to say. Very, very, very impressed with that so far. So I'm going to carry on now into the T-zone. My face needs setting desperately. I've got very, very glowy, almost greasy base on at the moment. Really pleased with that. So I'm going to take my bigger brush now. This is my BK Beauty brush, the 105, and I'm going to now put it everywhere else on the face. So I'm going to take plenty onto the brush. Now just tap on everywhere else. And the test for this being a good powder really is not having to go back in and apply more. That one coat with this brush should be absolutely plenty. Some of the new powders since the talc has been removed, I've noticed I've had to go back in and put several layers on to get the effect that I personally want, which is to have no sensation of any sort of cream on my face, no tackiness. That's something that's really important to me. So at the moment I'm only going back in to start a new section. I'm not going back in to do a second layer. So this is one layer on the face. And I'd say the tackiness is pretty much gone. And I do have quite a tacky base. I will put a little bit more though, because I do have a bit more here. And I do over apply powder, like I said, because I just cannot stand the feeling of any tackiness at all. But I try to avoid over layering in the T-zone because that's when it can start to build up and just look a little bit too powdery and too heavy. So the outer areas I can afford to take a bit more. I don't think it's as smoothing as the YSL loose powder, which I love, but I wouldn't say that it's too far off. I think what I miss about the YSL when using this is the lack of colour. I do love the colours and how they work with my skin. I like the pink and I like the blue with the YSL, and with Givenchy I like those mixture of colours, especially the pastel shades in the shade 01 I think it is, or 001. This one is just completely clear, so if you want it to not change colour in any way, this is a perfect option. And if you want something that's going to blur and just disappear, there is no evidence of powder on my face anywhere at all. So it's taken away the tacky feel. It has blurred a bit, but I do feel like my pores now, looking at them, don't look terribly blurred actually. So it's done it a bit. Let me just go in a bit more in the areas where I want more blurring and see if that helps. But now I'm starting to see too much powder. That's the problem. Yeah, it's a bit better, but as I've applied more, it's starting to look a bit powdery. Oh, which is putting me off it now. Oh gosh, I can see quite a lot of powder on my chin as well. That was going so well. Oh, okay. So a light dusting, this is good. For under the eyes, very good. For the rest of the face and for the pores that are visible here, I can still see them and I can see the powder on them now. So I don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, it's okay. For the eyes, excellent. Everything else, I'm not too sure now. I will test it more. That is a first impression, and I will try different ways. I'll try a puff, I'll try lighter brushes, but it's good. But I don't, like with YSL, it was an instant love, instant. So we'll see anyway. I'll just go on to do the rest of my makeup and then we can be back to look at these highlighters. Literally, whilst I've been gone and all I've done is a bit of bronzer and lipstick, I feel like all the oils from my base, and it's not my skin oils now, it is my base, are coming through, and I need to top up with this powder. So I'm really, really not happy with this powder. It's not working for me at all. I shouldn't have to top up within 5 minutes to an area that was already looking a bit cakey from over applying it. Definitely not happy with this. Wish I hadn't picked it up now. Anyway, let's move on to the highlighters. So the highlighters launched just the refills on the Selfridge site in here in the UK. They've all sold out now, so they're not yet available. I think the actual launch date for these highlighters is next week, after the 22nd of May. So look out for that on Prada sites and on Selfridges. I'm sure they'll all be available soon. And do look out for anything I'm posting. It's worth following me on my Instagram channel. I'll put that on the screen now because I always put it out in my stories. So any launches that are coming out, I always put them there. But I do also post them here on YouTube, so you will see it if you see me post my regular posts. I always put them there too. But usually with Instagram, you see stories a bit more quickly. So it's worth following me there for that. So I've only picked up the refills, and I'm actually holding this book here, which is where I keep other loose sort of refill. So I've got some glittery eyeshadows in here. So I have actually ordered a slim book, just a singular book, which is how I'm going to be keeping my highlighters for now. They're not actually magnetic, so the Prada highlighters I've got are sliding around in here, but I'd rather they have a case for now. But what they do have is a sticker. Anyway, I'll take them out of the book. I just wanted to show you that to give you an idea of how you could store them if you wanted to. So for instance, if you wanted to get all three, you could create yourself a highlighter palette without actually buying the case. And the case I've ordered was £10 from Amazon, and then you can fit 3 in, or you can put other things in like your favourite bronzer and things like that. So for instance, Danessa Myrex with the Groundwork palette, you can pull out all sorts of sections, and with the Lightworks you can pull out sections, with Viseart you can pull out those magnetic sections, and with Natasha Denona. So these sorts of palettes are really quite cool for creating your own sort of custom-made face palette, if you like. So you could just buy these refills to do exactly that. Apart from these are not magnetized, they've just got these little stickers on the back for sticking them into the refillable section. So I don't know how well they'll sit and stay. But anyway, I will let you know, because that's how I'm going to be keeping them. I don't think I'll bother buying the case. I'm sure it's been cheaper for me to order my £10 case from Amazon for 2 rather than buying individual cases from Prada. So the price on these, the refills, was £40. But that is actually the same price as the refill for the setting powder, and the setting powder was £50 with the case. So I would imagine that means these highlighters will be £50 with the case. And when they were advertised, sort of pre-launch pictures with information, it was saying these were going to be $90. Obviously that's not pounds, but that's still higher than £50. So I don't think from that they will be, because it doesn't make sense if the refills were 40. Hopefully that means that with the case they will be 50. So that is the worst case scenario for how much you're going to pay for these, £50. So we're getting 5 grams of product in these, and these are made in France. I don't have a swatch video because I don't have a case. I thought it would look quite hideous really on a swatch video, so I'm going to swatch them for the first time today. I've picked up the first 2 shades. There is a third shade, the deep shade. I'll pop a picture of that now on the screen so you can see what the deep shade looks like. And all I know about these, because there's very little information, they're not on the Prada website yet. I've just got this tiny bit of information saying that these are infused with micropixel pearls for a radiant refined finish, and they are also infused with squalane to smooth your skin over time. So squalane being the same ingredient that was in the setting powder, so that moisturizing ingredient, so it should be quite soft. Here they are close up if you want to see them a bit closer. So here we have the rose one. This one is the pink. I say rose, this is pink, and then this one is the champagne. So champagne is shade 1 and pink is shade 2. So let's take a swatch. That feels very suede-like, almost a bit suede, not quite as silky soft as the Fenty when I say suede, but it's very thick, velvety suede material formula. So there we have the champagne, and there it is swatched on the back of my hand. I think that's going to be a very good colour for my skin tone there, the champagne. And then the pink. So it is a lovely formula. It does feel really thick and luxurious. So there's the pink. And here is how the pink is swatching. So both shades are very suitable for fair skin. I don't know how I'm not sure about the shade range. The deep doesn't look too deep, does it? So if this is shade 1, this is shade 2. I don't know if people with deep skin tones will feel that they have got the right shades here, because they do seem very, very light, and almost undetectable on my skin. I'm really trying to get these to show up more, and we're underneath beaming lights here, but they're just not. They're very, very subtle, I think, so, and not particularly glowy. So these are not going to be an extreme highlighter by any means, but there's no sign of any glitter, there's no sign of any sparkle. They look extremely smooth. I'd be quite interested to see how these look. So I don't have any sort of blush on at the moment, so what I'm going to do is put them slightly more heavily on the cheeks so we can see them first, and then I'll put a little bit of blush on afterwards. So I've got my Victoria Beckham fan brush, and I'm going to start with the lighter of the two, the champagne, and take this straight onto the cheek. Yeah, this is really, really subtle. It's reminding me a bit of the way a cream highlighter goes on. If you're somebody who wants a bit of a glow, but you really don't like that big in your face, really, really glowy highlighter that has lots of glitter and really, really emphasizes texture, then I think you might love this. It's very, very, very smooth. A very natural type of highlight, because you can see the glow on my face, but you can't detect the product. There's no real sign of it when I get up close. That is actually a beautiful, beautiful formula. That really is. The only thing I'd say is I like to use highlighters on the eyes, and I'm not sure if this one would work. I'm just going to take this one down the nose. I won't take the rose down the nose, just this one, because I think the shade works better for me. I keep referring to the other one as rose. It's pink, so please excuse me for getting that wrong. So taking a bit of the champagne above the Cupid's bow. Do you know what? I am getting more shine coming through again. And this is not oils, this is my base. And I've used this base before. I can't actually tell you what base it is. I'm testing out a base that hasn't quite launched yet. But this base has been perfect with my normal powders. I'm going to go into my Givenchy and use it there. I don't ever want to use this Prada one again. What a disaster for me. Gosh, straight away that feels better. Thank you, Givenchy. But anyway, we're looking at the highlighter, and the highlighter is absolutely stunning. I think it's one of the most natural, smooth highlighters I've got in my collection already. My first impression is telling me that. I want to try it on the eyes, where I don't think looking at it is going to have quite as much of an impressive finish. I tend to find highlighters I don't like on the cheek, I love on the eyes, and then vice versa, because I do like more sparkle on the eyes. But what I've done today is I've just put a bit of bronzer in the crease of my eye, nothing else. So I'm taking it now on my little finger, the champagne. We'll see how it looks on the eyes, but I'm guessing it's going to be quite subtle and not massively glowy. Yeah, so it's not really working for the eyes for me. Unless you want something incredibly subtle. It would probably be a really good shade for under the brow and here for a pop of light. I think it's probably going to be perfect for that. Yeah, just not so good for across the eyelid, but I'll stick with it for today because that's what I wanted to show you. Maybe you like it like that, but actually emphasizing lines a bit too much. Yesterday I was using the NYX highlighter, which is very different, very sparkly, and obviously very different brand and very different price point. They are exceptional on the eyes. I love them. I don't love this one on the eye. I do like a highlighter that can do everything, but anyway, love it on the cheeks. So let's now try the pink on the other side. So I'm just going to clean off the fan brush because I want to try and use exactly the same brush. So now going into this pink, so I would imagine this would be more for light to medium skin tones, but I do find that pinks work very well on my skin tone as well. Not showing up with that pop of light quite as much. It's not a massive difference between the two though. You can see there's more light from the champagne on my skin tone, which is what you'd expect with this being a bit deeper, but you don't really see the pink much. Let me just build it. Editing me here. This is the promo shot of this pink highlighter, which I think looks gorgeous. But in reality, it looks nothing like this. It's a much deeper shade and it really doesn't come off as much of a pink. A little bit more. Yeah, you don't see the pink much at all. Very, very subtle. And not much difference. Just the ever so slightly darker, but you just don't see the pink. Let's see if I can see the pink on the eyes. Certainly not a vibrant pink by any means. It's more of a sort of dusty pink. Yeah, I really don't like this product on the eyes. You can see it just doesn't look right at all. Oh well, that's a shame. And I expected pink to be my favourite out of the two, but for my skin tone, this time pink isn't working, whereas I've got pink highlighters that work really well for me. By way of comparison, I do actually have the YSL pink here. I think this one is not called pink, is it? It's called rose, but anyway, it never has a name on the back of these. This one just says 03, but here are the two side by side. And here again is the promo picture, so you can see just how it does not look like the actual highlighter. It probably looks a bit closer to YSL there. So on my fingers, this side is YSL and this side is the Prada. There's the YSL and there's the Prada. You can see there's a lot more of a deep pink there in the YSL, which is a lot more glittery, but I am starting to really like the pink one. Sorry about my phone. I've got my notifications set to loud at the moment because my grandson, my second grandson, is actually due today and we are halfway into the labour, so I'm getting updates, so I've got to keep my phone on and I'm nervously checking it, so you never know, we could have a birth announcement during this video. I've also got here Dior Pink Halo, so I'll just show you that compared with the Prada pink. So you can see the Prada is a much deeper shade by the looks of it there, so the Dior is definitely going to be more glowy. Here is the Dior Pink Halo and there is the Prada. This one was the YSL. I've also got the Gucci in Opal Pink, which you can see compared with this is also much of a brighter shade, much more of a sparkle, but showing up my texture a lot more. So this one is Gucci and this one is Prada. And I think you can see from the four that the one that is showing texture the least is probably the Prada and the Dior maybe. The YSL and the Gucci is showing up texture and they're definitely more glittery. So the smoother is definitely these two. It's just that these colours from Prada don't really show up much. They're very much blending into the skin tone. I think that's what's happening. And then my favourite highlighter, which is the Hermes, which is in the rose gold. So there they are side by side. So I'll do a comparison with that as well. There's the Hermes, again, easy winner for me against all of these. And here it is compared with the Prada, this one being the Prada. Much more of a deep shade of rose. It's just very much lacking in colour, the Prada. Did I say rose again or pink? I keep saying rose instead of pink. I'm not going to do a lot of swatch comparisons with the champagne. I do have lots of champagnes, but I'm trying to think of a champagne I've bought in the recent launches. I don't think I really have. So the only one I'm going to show you is my Lancôme, which I've got in the shade Light Glow, which is sort of champagne-y. So here is the Lancôme in Light Glow, which is a beautiful highlighter. And here is the champagne in the Prada. So I'll show you a comparison of these. If you do have any swatch comparisons you'd like me to make that I haven't just made now, please do let me know and I can do it in a shorts reel for you. So here is the Prada and here is the Lancôme. Again, much lighter. Seems to be the running theme when I compare to Prada. So here is Prada Champagne and here is the Lancôme. I do prefer a bit more light, to be honest, which is why that's my preference. I think it's very similar in smoothness actually to the Lancôme. So my overall view of this is you're not seeing an awful lot of colour whether you're getting shades 1 or 2. Obviously I would see that depth if I'd gone for 3, but that's not intended for my skin tone. You're not seeing the glitter, which is probably good. I prefer that. It doesn't show up texture. It's extremely smooth. I think the champagne, which is my best tone for my face. Does look very beautiful, very natural, in a quite a similar way to almost a cream. I don't think it's very good on the eyes, which for me is a shame because my favourite highlighters usually can do both. But as I did say, the best highlighters on the eyes for me usually are too glittery for the cheeks. So just keep that in mind. It depends on preference. But I will now go in with a bronzer, a blush rather, to give myself a bit more colour. And I've got a new one to show you, which is from Haus. They've just launched 4 new shades of the Haus blush. But I keep going to say bronzer because these are blush / bronzer shades. So you can use them for both. And the full name of this is the Haus Colour Fuse Glassy Blush Balm Stick. And I've got mine in the shade Glassy Ginger, which is a dusty pink. And it's the lightest of the 4 shades that they've released. And this release was called Spiced Up Neutrals. Described as shades that will flex between a blusher and a bronzer. So here is Glassy Ginger. I love this formula. It is a lovely formula. And there it is on the back of my hand. I still have quite a bit of highlighter there that didn't come off, so it looks extra glassy and shiny there with those highlighters. Anyway, I'm going to take my Mario F4 brush and the smaller end and not swipe this straight onto the cheeks, especially when I've got that highlighter already there. And I'm now going to take this over the highlighter. If I think I'm losing the highlighter, then I will go back in at the end and put a bit more in. Gosh, isn't that a nice shade? Now when they say this works as a bronzer and a blush, with me, because I tend to need cool tone bronzers, I would never use these sorts of shades all over the face. But what I would do is skip out on any sort of bronzer in the cheek area. So I would just contour and then not bronze the cheeks and then go in with this. That is a beautiful shade, such a natural colour for my skin tone. I love this formula. So there we go, I'm doing a Prada review and the highlight of the review is the Haus blush for me. How ironic. Oh, that is beautiful. Look how natural that is. I love that. Love, love, love. If you haven't tried these blushes, they are so good. I went in with a bit more on my brush there and I got quite a bit more pigment there, do you see? Not a problem, it will blend out. I also love that because I like to powder my face and take away quite a lot of the sort of natural glowy look, I like to go in with a cream product like this at the end. This works so well on top of powder and it puts that glow back, but without me feeling I need to powder on top. There is a little bit of tackiness, I'm not going to say there isn't, but it's not quite enough for me to want to reach for the powder. So it's not tackiness free, but it's very little. And trust me, I'm such a fuss pot when it comes to tackiness. This one might look nice on the lips, you know, but I've already got lipstick on, so I'll try that another time. Very, very, very happy with that. I think it's beautiful. I was just going around the edges then with my foundation brush, if you're wondering what I was doing. I don't think I need to reapply the highlighter because if anything, the blush has given it even more of a glow, so I don't need it any more than I already had it. So there we have Glassy Ginger. What do you think? Beautiful. If you're cool toned and fair, this is just the perfect natural lip cheek colour. Beautiful. So anyway, I'll just quickly go off camera, finish my eyes, and the last thing we're going to look at is the Prada mascara because I haven't tried this yet, so this will be a first impression as well. So I've just finished my eyes and I just thought I'd mention what I've got on my eyes because it's something I've been loving so much recently, and that is the Patrick Tar Duo. And this is Talk to My Team, but it's this shade here, this rosy gold sort of finish. Look at it there on the eye. It is such a stunning, stunning shade. I haven't really talked about these since they launched. I did my review on them and then I haven't really talked about them, but I've reached for this, particularly this shade, so much as a one and done with a bit of bronzer. It is absolutely sensational. I love it. I've grown to love it a lot more than when I first reviewed it, and I think using the two together was almost the mistake I made when I formed an opinion on this, because using this on its own, oh, it's absolutely beautiful. Just thought I'd mention that. So I've gone in and done some eyeliner. I've curled both my lashes and now I'm ready to try this mascara from Prada. Now the packaging on this, I've seen people showing it and they say the packaging's nice and it just looks like a normal black bottle. but it's not. It's very textured. I don't know if you can see on camera just how textured this is. If I get up as close as I can. Can you see the texture in that? If I run my fingernail along it, you can hear it. It's got a lovely feel to it. It feels very, very luxurious. So this one is called the Pradascope mascara, and it's £35. And it says it has an innovative 180-degree lift and grip brush. Gosh, what is all that on the end? Is that all mascara, or is it the shape of the brush? That baffled me a bit then. That was just a big chunk. It is quite a different shaped brush, isn't it? Look at that. It's like a comb or a hairbrush. That is really different. So this delivers unparalleled separation and definition by capturing each lash from root to tip, even after multiple applications. The unique design features this flat design and is equipped with a precisely arranged nylon fibers on the other, effortlessly capturing, gripping and delivering a clean lift from the inner to the outer corner. The cutting edge Prada flexible microfilm, which is a trademark to the brand, pushes the boundaries of contemporary mascara formulas, and it coats your lashes in an ultra thin film, remains creamy and highly flexible, enabling the seamless layering of multiple coats. That is so different. So I like separation, I like length, I don't like too much clumpiness. A little bit of volume is good. Feels really strange using a brush like this. I feel like I'm using a hairbrush on my eyelashes. That is not giving me any lift at the moment. Now I do have very short lashes that don't like to curl up, but some of the mascaras I've tested recently have given me quite a lot of lift. Anyway, let's just keep going. I'm going into the roots and bringing it up. Well, it's definitely improved as I've applied, not more, but as I've continued to brush with this first coat. But I have had to do it for quite a long time off camera. You don't want to see all of that. Let me do the other side. Just look at, if I look directly at you, if you can even see it. And if I look up. And then I'll put this side on. It's also worth remembering, I've just opened this. This is first impression and day one of the mascara. Usually day 3, 4, where you get to see how a mascara really performs. It can be quite poor sometimes on the first day. I've written off quite a lot of mascaras on day 1 and then I've loved them by day 3 or 4. So this isn't really a review, this is just my first impressions. But I will carry on using it and give you a review for my end of month. That side, for some reason, first application looks much better. Maybe I just had a bit more on the brush. So I think what I'll do is I'll go in with a second coat now on this side. I did say you could just keep layering this without there being any issues, so it'll be interesting to see if it gets clumpy, because I really hate clumpiness. The second layer is going on very nicely, still staying separated, not bunching together. This does look like a good mascara actually. Oh, the second layer is much better. Maybe I didn't have enough product. Oh, I'm starting to really like it now. Gosh, look at the difference with that second coat. Can you see that? I hope you can see that, I really do. And it's very easy to do the lower lashes because it is literally like a little comb. A lot of impact actually for the lower lash line. I'll go in for a second coat now on my other side. Oh, I really like that. I think I will try a third coat, but I'm doing that to show you. I would not go in with a third coat. I'm very happy with that. It doesn't feel heavy, it still feels weightless, it hasn't gone clumpy, it's given me plenty of separation and length and volume. very happy with those 2 coats. It definitely needed that second coat. Whether it still will on day 3, maybe it won't. Maybe it will be a bit thicker after it's mixed more with the air. But I'll try a third because I'm just reviewing it. But just so you know, I will not do this again. This is just for today. But if this goes on without clumping, I think it'll be one of the only mascaras I've ever used a third coat and not hated, because normally I really despise that third coat, and that's why I don't do it even on first impression reviews. But this one, just like it says, it just doesn't clump. How many times could I keep layering this without it clumping? And it still adds that bit more. Wow. I think this would be a sort of special event mascara for me, because it takes a lot more time putting lots of layers, and I don't like to spend that long on my mascara on the daily. But for a special occasion, I think it's starting to look like it might be a little bit more than I need now, a bit thick, but not too bad. I'll put a third in on the other side. Gosh, it's amazing how that started off with me thinking it was actually quite rubbish and it's finished with me thinking it's actually quite amazing. What do you think? Wow. So there we are, that is everything I'm showing you today. So looking back, we started with the Prada setting powder, which I thought was beautiful under the eyes, non-detectable, really liked it, didn't like it everywhere else. When it built up, I thought it looked cakey, it didn't get rid of my pores, in fact they looked more visible, and the cream products I'm wearing underneath that were quite greasy, which work that I can use setting powders with so well, it just didn't work. They just kept coming through, and as you've seen in this video, I've had to reapply, and in the end go to my Givenchy. So for me, unless you've got a very, very non-greasy base with no sort of greasy skin generally, if you, so in other words, if you're not using products that have any grease in them and you don't have greasy skin, you might like this. Sort of very dry skinned people with the right products, possibly this would work well. If you have an oily T-zone, which I only very slightly do, and if you use products and lots of skincare and things that leave you with a fairly sticky base and you want your powder to really set that and remove it, this does not do the job very nicely. So for me, this is a fail unless it's for the eyes. I thought it was good on the eyes, although it doesn't brighten, so for me it's not perfect. And if I'm honest, I can see this going into a drawer and not being used again, which is an absolute shame. I will try and use it a bit more so I can give a more comprehensive review for you at the end of the month. So I will do that. Maybe I'll change my mind a bit, so please do look out for that. And then we looked at these highlighters from Prada, which was really the star of the show of this review. And I definitely prefer the champagne, which is a real surprise because I always prefer the pinks, but I think it's more to do with the tone of the pink in this. And I think both of them looked really bad on the eyes, which is fine, that's not what they're supposed to do. On the cheeks, I think that they are extremely subtle, natural, give a lovely glow, no glitter, no particles visible, very mature skin friendly, very easy to apply, pretty much undetectable, and just leaves you with a glow that looks like it is absolutely natural and you cannot detect the product at all. So it is seamless, it is flattering, it is easy to apply, it is actually really beautiful if that's what you're looking for. If you want a bit more glitter and a bit more shine, you're not going to enjoy these. If you're looking for that really subtle, natural, smooth finish, you're going to love these. But I would definitely just pick one shade because there's not enough difference for me between this one and the pink. They're very, very close. If you've got fair skin, I would be going for the champagne because it just shows up that little bit more. This one I would go with light to medium. But you might prefer this one if you want a slightly lighter finish. It's entirely up to you. They're quite deep. The champagne is quite deep. As we saw when I did swatches compared with others, they're not very light at all, and that's why they probably don't work on the eyes, and that's why I ended up adding Patrick Tar shadow to the eyes. And then we tried the Haus blush. This one is the new shade in the ginger shade from the bronzer, is it? Bronzer/bronzer. And these are not called that, these are still called the blush sticks, but this is the new one of the new 4 shades that launched, and I got the lightest and I think it is absolutely stunning. Perfect natural shade for me. I absolutely love it. Love, love, love. Love that formula. I already knew that, but love that shade. So I would definitely go with one that matches your skin tone if you fancy trying that, because it is gorgeous. And then lastly, I looked at the Prada mascara, which is from the Prada things I've shown you today, this was the star of the show. Not the newest product, you may have seen this many times before, but it was my first time trying it and I think it is absolutely brilliant. Started off a bit iffy, and as I got into my second layer I thought it was phenomenal actually. Really, really, really good. Very unique brush, unique packaging, very unique way that it layered without clumpiness. It still feels, with my third layer, very lightweight, no clumping, very comfortable, and I'm very fussy about things like that. I need a very lightweight mascara. So the big test now is whether it actually is going to end up all over my face. So I will be checking that and testing that. So for a much more comprehensive review on this, please do look out for my end of month review. I'll let you know if I'm still getting on with this well after 3-4 days, when it tends to change a bit, the formula. And also I'll let you know if I'm getting any smudging and whether it is staying exactly where it should, and how it looks at the end of the day. So anyway, I do hope you found all of these things helpful. If you've bought any of the things I've shown you today and you have any thoughts, I would love to hear them. And are you picking up one of these highlighters? Has this video changed your mind, maybe, or tempted you? What are your thoughts? I would love to hear. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, I would love it ever so much if you did subscribe, if you've enjoyed this video, and also if you hit the like button. If you are already subscribed, then you're at the end of another review. Thank you so very, very much for being here, and I do hope to see you all again for my next review. Oh, and there's no baby news. Do you know what? I haven't actually checked my phone. I do have one message. Wait a minute. Oh. Can I send over some money, please, Mum? That was my message. Okay, so no baby updates. Sorry about that. Anyway, I'll see you all again for my next video, hopefully. Take care. Bye.